record because it's going to be record. Why this is important? Because your reason for it will determine how you go about it. And sometimes some people, because they want to be humble, they don't put that I'm doing it to get leads for my business. You get me? I'll run this guy. I'm doing it to get leads for my business and to build my network and have interesting conversations with interesting people. I'm not, you get me? To build my build my network. Because if you do podcasting right, you become a very powerful person. I'm doing it to build my network. I'm doing it to get leads for my business. And off the back of that, because of that, I am willing to stand forever. If you are willing, Kenneth Hagin said that if you're willing to stand forever, you will not stand for a long time. Because it may take you time to grow it. You get me? Thankfully, you already have other audiences. So you are saying to yourself that I'm going to commit to this thing because it's very, very, podcasting is powerful. I know the type of podcast that's very popular now in Nigeria. It's all those people that are calling out each other, all those they do their podcast. I can't stand them. Yeah. You see that talking about sex, violence, because that's what is very clickbaitish. That's what the audience wants to hear for now. But it's always start like that, and then the other people go. So Taiwo, again, why do you want to do this? So I'm going to come back to you again to say, why do you want to do podcasting? Good.
First off, like I said, I want to be heard. I want to be seen, and I also want to get paid.
Very good.
So I want to leverage on my expertise to talk about what I do.
Very good.
Share my experiences.
Very good.
And to share, my my little knowledge for people so that they don't make mistakes, they don't fall into the wrong hands, they're able to make better decisions when they are investing in real estate. So it's something I really want it to be centered around real estate, not just Nigeria, but outside the shores of Nigeria, globally, like real estate globally, checking the best practices, looking at what works, looking at the dynamics around why people build the way they do, or why cities become the way they are right now, or why some have become redundant.
Very good.
So it's quite a number of things that I want to use the podcast.
I get the view. What do you want it to be focused around mainly on?
I want it to be focused around real estate investing.
Very good.
For example, busting the myths, then helping people with the ladder. Like you want to start investing, for example, you don't know where to start from, what you need to do, where you need to start. Some ideas. I'll be sharing some ideas on success stories of people that started some years back, or some things they've done right and what they've done wrong. I'll be sharing even some experiences of people that came from grass to grace. When I say from grass to grace, I've seen a woman on Instagram that started buying 1, 2, 3 properties, and before you knew it, she owns the entire block. She owns the entire neighborhood. Wow. She was buying all the properties in that neighborhood. She has over 150 houses in that particular neighborhood.
Madu.
So so education, inspirational, informative, and also to leverage on the back of my coaching program. So I want to build my coaching program. I want it to go beyond where it is now and see how I can expand it even to like a TV show.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Exciting. Esosa, why do you want to do this? Why is this important to you?
Okay. Can you hear me, please?
Yes. According to the stats, I saw the stats recently. The average podcast does not do up to 10 episodes before they stop.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't do up to 10 episodes before they stop. So we need to, that's why you see, I'm starting from the right place. It's the why. Great.
Okay. So
Yes,
my
so.
why. Yes. Can you hear me, coach?
Very loud and clear.
Okay. So my why is that first off, I want to be able to show those who come from very humble families that they can become so much more. My podcast is centered around millionaires, first
Very good.
generation millionaires, those
Very
that
good.
came from nothing, but they were able to build something for themselves.
Very
So it's
good.
just me asking millionaires about their experiences and sharing it with the world. So that those who feel like, can I be much more than I am? Can I be bigger than my background? They know that yes, they can do so much. Since there are so many fourth generation millionaires that are kicking it and killing it in the world today. So I want to be able to control the narrative and help people see things beyond just the limitations of their environment or their thoughts or their mindset.
Interesting. Very good. Okay. So now that we have established that, let's get into the slides, the deck. All right. So we would divide it into 3 ways before you launch the podcast, some tools that you can use and how you market the podcast. So let's start before you launch the podcast. I've asked you your why. For some people, they used to generate leads to grow their personal brand. They have a strong message. They want to sell a product. You know, some people actually do a podcast for just a season. Some people can just do only for 90 days because they have a product they want to sell. They want to just use the podcast to just push that. So some people do seasonal podcasts. Some people do the podcast for as long as, as they want to do, like people like Tim Ferriss and all that. So yes, the name of your podcast, what name will you give it? Now, there are 3 types of names you can give to a podcast. There is a personal name for a podcast, Paul Fo Podcast. There is an industry name for a podcast, Marketing Podcast. There's a topic for a podcast. So you want to pick, how do you want to call your podcast? Tim Ferriss Podcast, that is a personal name. Diary of a CEO, this is the largest podcast right now in the world. So he combined the niche of the podcast with his personal name, the Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. It's massive. This guy is big. Can I say when you're big, you're big. So you can actually do a industry name and then with your name. Anyone, whatever is your cup of tea. So I want to ask you guys, what is the name of your podcast? Do you want to do your personal name? Do you want to do industry with? Do you want to do combination of industry with your name, or you want to just do your name? Which one do you want to do?
I think I would love to do topic with personal name.
Topic with personal name. So what's the name of your podcast?
Initially, I was thinking Real Estate Investing 101.
Yeah.
With Taiwan Journey.
Does that sound long? So you want something punchy? My podcast used to be called The Paul Fo Podcast. I removed the "the" to Paul Fo Podcast.
Okay.
I want it to be easily recalled, like So you want to think through that name. Because Real Estate Investing 101 is good, but always set yourself, how will it look in the DP of the podcast? It's good. It goes straight to the point. Real Estate Investing 101. Good one. Esosa, what will you call your podcast?
So mine, I was only thinking of using a particular name, but since you said we can have a personal name, so I think now it might be Undercover Millionaires with Esosa.
Exactly.
I don't know how it.
So you can do Undercover Millionaire with Esosa, yada yada. One thing I can guide is that you can actually search for the top real estate podcast in the world. Top real estate podcast in the world, and then from there, if you look at the top 10, you can say, sounds good. How can I iterate this and then use it to get mine? You get that? All right. So Undercover Millionaire with Esosa. If you want that, fine. You can say, okay, what are the top money podcasts in the world, and see how you can use to iterate. But your name is critically important. So that you just tell them this podcast, this podcast, this podcast, this podcast. it is a good way to, sort of like figure out things. And please, if you have questions as we go along, don't just ask me to stop. We will discuss it and go along. Now, the format of the podcast. Yes. So there are three formats. There is the solo format, there's the interview format, then there's the co-host. I'll give you an example of all. This is a solo podcast where you do your thing, you teach. Hello, everyone. My name is Taiwo. Today, Real Estate 101. I want to talk to you about deed of assignments. She teaches it. But Taiwo can also be a solo and an interview together. So today, Taiwo will say, today I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Ayilara or Mr. Tony Aspire, the current president of Redan. So from a solo, boom. So some episode, because to book guests is not easy. It's work. When you start this, you see Taiwo, to get people to sit their asses and be telling you, oh my God, you come as a coach, man, you are trying. You will follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. When people come and say, how do you book these people? You don't know. I've sent one guy a message here in the UK. The guy says, my secretary, you will interview, not me. And guess what? I have now interviewed the people that he respects so much. Because when he gave me that stinker, I said that I kept it in my notion. I said, these are my haters. These are my haters. So I'll be looking at it to motivate me. So I went to his Instagram. I saw people that he respects so much, was speaking highly of them. I got them, I interviewed them on my podcast. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. You get that? So some people get ready to send DMs and nobody will answer his crickets because you wonder, they're very busy. So I want to ask you guys again. So let me show you the two formats so you look at it. So this is a solo podcast. I do solo. If I don't have a guest, I do solo. This is this is what you call a co-host podcast. This is the Nedu's podcast. This is perhaps the most popular podcast in Nigeria right now. Is it not so? Abi? This Nedu's podcast is the most popular, man.
Yeah. So because it's very controversial.
Extremely. Maybe it was when I interviewed that girl that they've cancelled now. Seidu. That girl,
Okay,
the kind of
bunch,
guts.
yeah.
You know what? I use that girl to teach something. That girl is doing what they call polarizing views in copywriting. It's just that she's too extreme. Polarizing views, right, gets people a lot. For example, especially in real estate, if somebody comes and says, you don't need to own a house to build wealth, that's a very polarizing view. You will see comments. People will come, they say, lie, is it true? Is it lie? Is it true? Because that view is very polarizing. Did you get that? Or you can even be polarizing within your industry. Say, forget shortlet is rubbish in Nigeria. Stupid, rubbish idea. All the shortlet people come after you. Hey, fire. So polarizing views are very good. Just that girl, the Igbo she smoke now, very strong Igbo. That girl. Me and my wife, they look there, they say, who born this pikin? This pikin, who born them? The spirit really get, but they're very strong. They're the kind of guy that you don't want to find out trouble. If not, you're in deep shit, man. Yeah, so there's co-host, and then there is, you have a host. It's constant. I said what I said. It's also it's also a very successful podcast. These two girls, they have an agency both here in the UK and in Lagos. They live in Lagos, but I mean they shuttle. It is a podcast company that powered this guy's podcast. You know this guy, Sha? You shall know this guy. You know this guy, ba?
Yeah, Tiwite. Yes, Tiwite. Tell me something.
Yeah. You know, he has a big podcast. He's now sponsored by Lipton. You know that, right? It's Lipton that sponsors his podcast. It is this girl's company that own his podcast. They were the ones that brought him on. Wow. You did get that? Yeah, they were the ones that brought. They have a communication company. I think they are launching a series of podcasts now. So they were the one that brought. So this is a co-host. Maybe you have a co-host. You guys do the podcast every single time. That is also fine. Or you can have a single person and you're always getting hosts. So let me ask you guys here, which one would you prefer? A co-host, a host, a single? Which one would you do? Which one works for you guys? All of them have their pros and their cons. For the booking of guests, it is not. My next guest is coming up on the 27th of this month. His name is Cyrus Yari. He's a co-investor with the guy that has OpenAI. He's a very smart guy. He works for Elon Musk. He's a multi-millionaire. He's an Iranian English guy. British, super smart. I don't have anybody to interview until on the 27th, but I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to do solo runs until that time while I'm booking other guests. So which one do you think is going to work for you?
I think I'll do a combination. Co-hosting and so.
Okay, explain. What do you mean by that? How are you going to go about it?
Is it co-hosting / interview, right?
Yes. So co-hosting, or you just want to, you're a solo podcast, but you get guests like TVT.
Yes.
Great. Okay, good. So, I mean, you've done business with a lot of people. You have friends in the industry and adjacent industry. Taiwo, nobody is actually interviewing manufacturers. Those are adjacent industries. You get me? Nobody's interviewing people that service the industry. I don't know. So, very good. Esosa, how do you want to run your solo co-host? How do you want to do this? Hello?
Mine will be host. I'll be host basically because I'll be constantly interviewing millionaires.
So you be constantly interviewing.
But if along the line I feel like I would have my own solo section, then I'll just look at what is going to work and see what I can do if I will need to just come alone sometimes. But I intend to just interview. I'll be the host and bring people on board to interview.
Great. Now here is the thing about let's wait for Taiwo. I think the network knocked her out. The thing about getting guests is that you must be ready to book them.
Like pay them? Is that what you mean?
No, you don't pay them. The bookings process. You get me? Because you have to follow up on them. You have to get their timing right with your timing. So, if you know that, for example, you want to launch your podcast in September, you need to start talking to the people you want to interview now. I don't know if you understand me.
Yes, coach. I understand you. But
so if you
that's like 3 months.
Yes. So if you say, okay, I'm going to how many times a week do you want to? Let's wait for Taiwo.
Okay. Let's wait for her.
I said, you guys should take this podcasting thing very seriously. It's very, very powerful. Very, very, very powerful. Extremely powerful. All right, so let's go ahead. Can we go? Taiwo, is your network better now?
Yes, please go ahead.
No problem. Great. So you pick a format that works for you. Some people they don't do co-hosting, like Founders Podcast by David Senra, one of the largest podcasts in the world. He doesn't interview anybody. He just talks about the books that he wants to talk about, and that's it. So the next one, after you've picked a name, you know the format, your artwork is very, very, very important. Your artwork for your podcast is very, very important. That's where you now need to go to like Canva to design the artwork for your podcast. Now, the good thing about Canva is that when you go to Canva, you can actually ask Canva to give you templates for podcasts. Let me open my Canva for you guys to see. So if you come to Canva, for example, because every podcast has an artwork, right? That's like the DP of the podcast.
Yes.
You get that, right? Mm-hmm. So you can actually ask Canva podcast artwork. It will give you a lot. Podcast artwork. Boom. So you pick anyone that you like. So all of you, first assignment, all of you need to design your podcast artwork today. Mine was very simple. There was nothing. I just put my name in there because I just like the font of black and white. I began to fall in love with the color of black and white every time I'm in London. Most of the designs in London are black and white, and the fonts that they use is so beautiful. I just fell in love with black and white. It's simple, it's simplistic, it's straight to the point, and I just love it. I mean, it's different for everybody, but I thoroughly love the font of black and white. I love it so much. I changed my podcast artwork. Let me show you. I think you've seen it before, but it bears repeating. I just left it at black and white. I just love the way the font looks. It's very, very simple. In fact, I'm doing an artwork that I'm going to print. This is the scripture that changed my life. I've been saying this scripture every single day since I got married. I'm 17 years in marriage. I say it every single day. This scripture changed my life. So I want to do a framing and put it up in my house. So I use black and white. It's my favorite. I will use it for my newsletter. Look at it. That's my podcast. Very simple. So this is my artwork. So you pick an artwork that works for you. Pick a artwork that works for you. So all of you should do that immediately. You can actually do that and put coming soon for your podcast. You can actually, let me give you guys an idea right now. You can even go to Google and do a Google form and say coming soon. My first episode of my podcast will be released on, I don't know, July 20th, July, whatever. If you want to be among the first set of people that will listen to it, put your phone number and your email, you get it for free. So that way you got your first set of listeners that will listen to your podcast as you launch. So you have a launch strategy. What do you think about that?
That sounds very good.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. So that when you launch, it's not crickets. You have your first set of listeners that will give you feedback. Did you get that? Great. So the next thing you want to do next is you want to say to yourself, you've got your artwork. You've designed your artwork, right? You need to do what they call a podcast host. But before I go into a podcast host, there is something I didn't tell the people that I coached this class for, and it occurred to me that you guys need to know it. You need to have a podcast format. Everybody say format. Everybody say format.
Format.
Great. So let me explain to you what I mean by format. If you listen to the top podcast in the world, Timmy Dakolo said something to me when I interviewed him for my podcast. It was so spot on. He said, Paul, the way I listen to music is not the way you listen to music, because it's my passion and I'm a professional. I'm listening to the patterns. You're not listening to the patterns. He said, Paul, the way you listen to podcasts is not the way I listen to podcasts, because you're a professional and you're passionate about it. You see the patterns. Taiwo and Esosa, if you listen to the top podcasts in the world, they all have a format. There's some people that do introduction. When they, hey, hello everybody, welcome to the Esosa podcast or welcome to Taiwo's podcast. Some people, they start with a banter. They just banter. What happened last week? How was your last week? I see what's happening in Rida. No? Rida, we have a new president now. Man, in the news, we had Democracy Day in Nigeria, celebrating democracy. In the news, we heard that Guinness has left Nigeria, but all is well. Did you get that? You start with banter. Next, you say, on today's episode of Real Estate 101 with Taiwo, we will be looking at that about the difference between deed of assignment, the difference between governor's consent and yada. Great. So Taiwo will not teach that thing. At some point, I will pause. This episode of the Taiwo of the Real Estate podcast with Taiwo was powered by Landway, for example. Landway, yada. Taiwo continues teaching. In conclusion, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Taiwo's podcast. But we always conclude with a quiz, and the quiz is: tell me the first real estate company that opened an office in Lagos Island. That ends the end of the. You have a format. Taiwo, did you get that? Come on, man.
I got it.
So did you get that? Did you get that? You must have from the get-go.
A format.
Yes, from the get-go. Don't make that mistake. In fact, you can even format your format from, like I did on Notion. Let me open my Notion page for you guys and see. In my podcast. 1 second. Guys, I don't want any noise, man. That is hustling, man. I don't want any noise. I'm coming. Where's that? Where did I put this? Where did I put this? Yes. Okay, good. So let me share with you guys my Notion page on my podcast. So watch this. So this is my Notion. I want to encourage all of you must open Notion because of your podcast. Did you see my podcast here? Did you see podcast structure? Did you see podcast structure?
Yeah.
Great. So this is the podcast structure. I follow this structure a lot. So I do introduction. Did you see that?
Yeah.
See the flow? Main topic. Did you see that? Audience engagement. This is where I read people's emails. Okay, I got an email from Taiwo saying that she enjoyed the podcast. Then there's a conclusion. Then to see how I used it in this episode, on episode 134, the War of Arts, when I reviewed the War of Arts. So you look at it, you see what I did here. Yeah. So I say, welcome to the Powerful, yada yada. In the news, Taiwo, I talked about your profession. I said, I talked about reading. That was what I talked about in the news. Then I went to the topic. After that, I read messages. This person sent me a message about the podcast. And then I said, thank you, everybody. And I plugged the ads that I put there. Then I put a quiz. I said, name an entrepreneur who became a president of his country. So I put that at the end, which is my quiz. And that was the end of the podcast. Did you see that format there?
Yeah.
So when you see it, you know that, well, these guys are not just talking, Come on, man. Are you guys feeling this class?
Yeah.
You gotta have a structure for it. Why do you used to watch news and enjoy it? Watch television and enjoy it? They follow a structure.
Yeah.
They follow a structure. They stick to that structure, but they still make it nice. So you want to develop your own formats. And you may say, okay, coach, I don't know how to develop my own format. It's very, very simple. I can help you. I got you. You want to get that? So let's go to ChatGPT and let me see what I can do to help you guys. Oh my God, man. I'm giving these guys a sauce, man. I'm dropping a bomb, man. Yo.
Fire. Habibi, bomb emoji. Where's that? Where's that fire emoji that you
lighted, man. I'm dropping a sauce, man. So let's say I come here and say, okay, so let's ask ChatGPT now. The name of my podcast is Real Estate 101. My name, is Taiwo. I leave it at that for all right. I am a top selling real estate agent based in Lagos. I'm giving it context, right? Nigeria. Taiwo, and so you guys will pay me extra for the people that first people attended this class. I didn't even go this. I didn't get to this dimension. But you know, every day you grow, right? That's the good thing about life. Now watch this. My name is Taiwo. I'm a top selling real estate agent based in Nigeria. Great. I am starting a podcast in July. Give me a podcast structure in the tone of, let me pick the best podcast structure that I like. Let's say, who's your favorite podcaster? Who's your favorite podcaster? Come on, girls. Come on, girls. Talk to me, darlings.
Then after the morning podcast, and after the morning podcast, I listen to Dario of the CEO also. Then I listen to sales podcast. What's their name?
There are plenty, right? So let's say, Taiwo, what's your favorite?
I don't have a favorite though. If Grant Cardone has a podcast, then I'll listen to him.
No, Grant Cardone is all over the place. Doesn't have his structure. It's no ginger.
Top podcasters.
Sales Logic podcast. You know about that for Sales Logic for podcast.
So should we use the Sales Logic podcast? Or you know what? Let's use a structure.
Okay, yes, use Tom Ferry or Bigger Pockets.
Bigger Pockets.
Yes.
Look, so let's say let's say Tom Ferry, right? Tom Ferry. That's a big real estate guy. Ferry. Yeah. In the tone of Tom Ferry podcasts. All right. Woo! Intro music, episode introduction, current market updates, main topic discussion, guest interview, listener question, actionable takeaway. I just gave the both of you structure. Oh my God.
Boom.
So sorry. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just copy this for you guys right now. Don't stress yourself. Just adjust this. I just gave you guys a podcast structure. Boom. It can work for both of you. You can touch it up a little bit. You make the work easy. Why people don't start? Because it's very overwhelming. This has cut hours of your life. I'm telling you. So I'm gonna dump it now for both of you darlings. And I said, when your podcast begin to blow, and when I go call me later, say, Coach, man, you need an offering. This man of God, you need an offering. No, you need an offering. No. Boom. I've sent it to both of you. Did you get that? It's in your WhatsApp right now.
Thank you, Coach.
So you got a structure. From the get-go, start with professionalism. Not they do bara. You get that? Start with the product. So that tomorrow, Taiwo, so if a company wants to place an advert in your podcast, you say, this is the structure. After the introduction, when I teach it, in the mid-roll, you talk the language. In mid-roll, I will talk about your product and your service. And then in the outro as well, when I'm doing the quiz section or whatever, and the actionable takeaway part, I will also plug in your advert. Is that okay? Oh, she knows what she's talking about, man. She's got the sauce, man. Did you get that? Great. So now, let's go to the next one. You've done the artwork. From the artwork, I added a structure to it. So you got your structure together. Now, this is very important. You have to host your podcast. Someone say, host the podcast.
Host the podcast.
Great. Now, what do I mean by that? Every podcast that you see, you first record it. Like this is my podcast now. I record it first on my laptop. First. I will show you guys the tools I use when I'm interviewing somebody remotely as well. And get ready, because most of your guests, they may not be in the same physical space as you. So you have to record them remotely. I'll tell you the website that I use to do my remote recording. I'm going to open that up for you guys. Okay. So when you record the podcast, oh my God, you have to host it. Because before you see somebody's podcast on Spotify, you see somebody's podcast on Apple, they sent it to a host. Now, there are different types of hosts. Some of them will charge you, some of them is free. So I went for the free one. I used to pay money to Buzzsprout before. I used to pay them £12 a month. Then I realized that Spotify says they can host my podcast for free. So what I do, when I finish the recording, you upload what you recorded. So let me break it down for you guys to see now so that you can see it. So we're getting a bit technical now. So that, don't worry, I'm the least techie guy. So just realize that, look, if Pofo can do it, I can do it. I beg. It's not hard at all. So, Duki, can I have an extra glass of water? And you want to say hello to my friends? Mm-hmm. Go and greet them. Greet them properly.
Good morning, sir. Good evening.
Hi, darling.
Good evening.
They are all women. There's no sire. They're all women. They're pretty.
Good evening, ma.
Thank you. All right, so and
I came outside.
All right, good. Awesome, better. Good. Now it's time to host the podcast. Everybody says time to host.
Time to host.
Great. I want to make this thing as easy breezy for you all, darling. So it's time to host the podcast. So let's see what we're going to do now. Where's my good? Can you see my screen? Say I can see your screen.
I can
see your screen.
So don't make the mistake that I made when I went to Buzzsprout. I was paying Buzzsprout 12 pounds every single month to host my podcast. Then I listened to Modern Wisdom, and the guy said, "Oh, you can host your podcast on Spotify for free." I'm like, "Oh." Meanwhile, now that you guys are podcasters, you must be listening to podcast. My first song want to greet people too. Hey, to this, is it because these women are talking to today? You want to go on?
Has nothing to do with that. Hey, hello, good afternoon, or good evening. I mean,
hi.
All right, good. Very good. Tell her, why your daughter? I saw you dancing on that. I said, this woman, man, you don't leave this girl. All right, good. So everybody say hosting.
Hosting.
So this is, you guys are going to, you have access to have Spotify as your host stat. You can get that today. Once you just set up your podcast, it's very easy. So this is my back end on my Spotify. So it shows you that I have done 137 episodes. So I'm podcast royalty. Can you see my hand?
Wow.
Yes, 137 episodes. Did you get that? And also, Spotify has followers now. So anytime you go do your podcast, please always add it. And if you're on the Spotify podcast, please click on the follow button. This is very important. It makes more people discover your podcast. So this shows you the back end. It's very easy. Somebody also asked me, so coach, how do we upload what we have recorded? So let's say time when you record something on your laptop. It's just like you record something on your laptop. You want to now upload it so that the whole world will listen to you, right? You just come to new episode. Do you see this click here? Did you see it here?
Yeah.
You tap new episode here. Click. It will tell you to select what you have already dropped in your laptop. You click select here. I don't want to upload any episode today. I've already uploaded. You can even upload video. Do you know that? You can upload a video if you want to. I don't want to.
People watch audio on Spotify. They watch a video on Spotify.
People watch video on Spotify now. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, the game has changed, man. The game has changed. It can even tell you where your audience is coming from. So look at analytics. Look at my audience. It says 73% of my audience are Nigerians. Are you seeing it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
12% of my audience are in the United States of America. 6% of my listeners are in the UK. So, Taro, for example, if you have this kind of thing and you want to market to a real estate company or whatever, a company that does products for real estate, you can say, you know what, this is my audience. So it's a perfect fit. Did you get that? So you add your artwork and you record your first episode following that format. Very simple. You guys, your first assignment, you record an episode and send to me. Just make it a 20 minutes episode or 15 minutes. Are you on? Record it with your phone first.
Okay.
Just record it with your phone and send it to me. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Did you get that?
Yeah.
And we realize your first episode will be shitty and it's fine. It will not be great and it's always fine. The greatest of the podcasters today, some of them when they talk, they say, when I watch my own episode, I just cringe. But they've gotten better because skills compound. So please forget about Buzzsprout, forget about Anchor, forget about Bot. Just Spotify is free. How many of you use Spotify to listen to music?
I actually listen to all my podcasts is Spotify. I listen to even yours.
Very good. So it is the Spotify, your podcast listen Spotify account is what you use to host your Spotify. So go to Google Spotify for podcasters today and register your podcast there today. You can do it today. You can send me a screen and say, Coach, I just registered my podcast. But if you ask you for your DP, you must have designed your DP first on Canva, and then you put that there. You put that there. Got it? Very simple. Now it's time for mics. Someone say mics. Say mics.
Yeah, mics.
Yes, so this is the cocoa night. All of you have to go and buy a microphone. So there are two types of microphones generally in the world. In every podcast that you see, there is a condenser mic and then there is a dynamic mic. So let's look at the difference, and then you choose one based on your circumstance in life. You know, I was sharing something with my wife. I said, I listened to Daniel Priest, a very smart guy, and he said this is so beautiful. He said, don't take every advice you see on the internet, because everybody's in different stages in life. You say, when you have children, the way you market will be different because you have responsibilities. Unlike the guy or the lady who doesn't have those kind of responsibilities, they don't have anybody. You get me? So different stage. You see how it connects to the microphone. Now watch this. So there are two types of mics here. There's a condenser mic and then there's dynamic mic. Now, the condenser mic will pick up a lot of what is going on around you. How many of you have been picking up things that are going on in my house as I'm talking to you? You hear maybe my wife talking in the background, you hear my children talking in the background, because my mic is a condenser mic. It pick every information around you. Not only my voice. Did you get that? Did you get that? That's why when I record my podcast, I tell everybody, I put a sign, I tell everybody, Daddy is recording, no noise. If you want to talk, go downstairs. You see, if you hear where my wife is playing a guitar, you can hear it. It's picking it up. Did you hear that? Are you guys here? Are you guys here?
No, we can't hear. Me, I can't hear.
Okay, great. Okay, you can hear. Okay, great. Okay, because I'm here. So now that's a condenser mic, but I won't advise you pick a condenser mic. The second type of mic is the dynamic mic. Now look at this. This dynamic mic does not pick the sound of any other thing but your voice. It picks only your voice. This mic, for example, this mic is $79, or this mic that I'm using, I bought it for $158. Taiwo, guess what? I bought my mic in Lagos in Surulere. I've used this mic now for like 2 years. Yeah, so I bought it in a place called Gopandi. Taiwo and Esusa, if you guys want to buy mic, I want to recommend you go to Gopandi. Don't buy these mics online, because me, I'm not technical. I like to go. I like to test it. Like, if they work, don't go and...
Do you mean this one or the...
Yes, this particular mic. This is a condenser mic, but on Amazon it's $158. I bought this mic 150,000 naira in Lagos 2 years ago. I went to a place called Gopandi in Surulere. So Taiwan, so you guys can, you can Google them. They sell very good podcast equipment. I bought it in Surulere. In Eric Moore. There's a popular road on Surulere. That's where I bought this mic. I saw them on Instagram. They said I should buy. I said, no, this is electronic. I will come to your shop. I will test it. And I told the guy, connect it to my laptop. I want to hear this. Do the setting and save the setting. Don't remove the setting. Did you get that? In fact, while the guy was setting up, I was doing video camera. I was cameraing every move he was making. That's how I got to get to use this mic. So this is the mic that I use. This is the mic that I use. All right. So I've used this mic for a long time. It served its purpose. It's doing its work for me. All right. So you pick which mic do you think will work for you. But before I go there, let me ask a question now. What have you learned so far? Any questions, so that I'm not overwhelming you with a lot of information? Does this sound exciting to you already? Podcast is such a powerful... Taiwo, before you came, I was telling Esosa, I'm doing a sales training for a company based in Dubai for the next 90 days. They heard my podcast. They've already paid for the first 1 month. They paid me for 90 days, 1 month, 3 months to do training for them off the back of a podcast. Taiwo, I just spoke to one of the largest UK communities called Humble Penny. You can check them out. Humble Penny. They have over 10,000 high net worth individuals in that community. I spoke to them today after I interviewed the owner of the community. The guy paid for his mortgage in 7 years. His name is Ken Okorafor. They are all over the place. They're in Spotify. They're best-selling authors. Massive people, successful. And after I interviewed the guy in my podcast, the guy said, "You sound so smart. I need you to come on my community." He booked me that same day. So podcast opens. He just sent me his number today. And in the UK, if somebody sends you their personal number, know that they trust and they like you. They don't send number or title. It's very funny. They'll give you the official number. They won't send you. Once somebody has sent you his number, it's a signal. They trust you. They like you. They believe in you. So take the podcast. It helps you build relationships. So what have you learned so far? What have you learned so far?
Okay. Personally, I'm getting a lot of ideas, and also the structure part is something I've always thought about. Like, okay, how do you start? How do you interject, and all of that? You know, so I think I learned that structure part is quite awesome. Then also on the equipment, like the mic, I just bought one mic like that one time. It's just sitting in my.
What's the name of the mic? What you do entirely will take that mic and ask Google and say, "Is this a condenser mic?"
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. I'll send you guys this slide, but you want to ask that so that you know the kind of mic that you are. But at some point, you guys will need to buy a stand like this, so it makes you look cool when you're talking. So you don't need to be bending your neck.
I have the stand.
Great.
Something like, yeah.
Fantastic, great. All right. So what else have you learned?
Yeah, I've also learned on what's it called now? The artwork. Okay, so initially I went to a studio. One of my photo shoot like that, I took a picture.
Yeah.
And I had headphone to my ear.
Yeah.
So I'll send you the picture too if it's okay. If not, maybe I'll take another one.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I would use the Canva. I'll use Canva to design the background, the artwork.
Great. Sister, what about you? What have you learned today? What will you start doing different? What will you start doing immediately off the back of what you've heard today?
Okay. Thank you. What I've learned, coach, I learned about first off that I can actually design my own stuff by myself.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Did I know that I could actually host for free on Spotify?
Yes.
Then the structure part too. As you were talking, I had to go and start writing down how I want to engage with the way you said you can start with an engagement with like a gist and all of that. I started writing that down. That really stood out for me. So this has really great. But tonight I'll do that design, open on Spotify, and I'm so pumped already. Thank you so much, coach.
Great. And let me give you guys one other process. You need to start documenting some things. Now that you want to do a podcast, your brain is tuned. So Taiwo, if you are watching a TV program, you are listening to a podcast, if you discover that the host asks the guest a particular question and the guest goes like, "Wow, I never heard that before," save that question and say, "Okay, how can I ask that question to a guest in my own way?" You need to have a question bank. Get it on Notion. Get it on Notion. Because your tool as a podcaster is in the power of questions that you ask. And you can't ask great questions also if you don't research the clients. If you don't research the guests. If you don't research the guests. Let me share with you what two guests said off the back of that. I thoroughly liked those ones as well. So it's important that you research the guests that is coming on your podcast. So you have 2 weeks before the interview, so you have time to read up a little bit about the guest, and you make them feel good when you research them well. Did you get that? So read up a bit about them, watch what they've been interviewed on and on and on and on and on, so they can ask very, very powerful. But have a question bank now. You find out after you finish this class, the way you listen to the podcast will not be the same again. It will not be the same again. Your view, the lens through which you used to listen to the podcast now will be totally different, because you start seeing it differently. Great. Great. So
801.
Great. Can we go on? Tara, are you ready? Are you talking to somebody? Great.
Sorry, I didn't know I was
Not muted. No problem. No problem. Okay. No problem. All right. So, guys, have you noticed that in every podcast they have their intro and the outro? It's just like, Tara, have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Every podcast have an intro. They have an outro. Do you notice that? You notice that?
Yes, I'm noticed. Even yours too.
Yes. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? It's a new day. It's a fresh. I hope you're shaking and begging. Welcome to the Powerful Podcast. So the assignment I want to give, I'm giving you guys a lot of assignments. Go and develop your own. Let me play my intro for you guys to so you have an idea of what an intro and an outro is. Is that okay?
Yes, okay.
Vivian. Vivian. So let me open the intro and the outro. Intro. Where's my intro? Okay, good. So let me play my intro for you guys to hear. Welcome to the Powerful Podcast. This is a podcast where I inspire and motivate you to increase your sales and live your best life. So I do this primarily through dropping nuggets of wisdom here and interviewing phenomenal guests. My name is Paul Fu. I am an international sales coach, Forbes Coaches Council member, and TEDx speaker. So grab a seat, grab a cup of coffee or tea or water, and enjoy this podcast. Your life and your business will never remain the same after this. Let's go. Boom. So, do you know how I recorded that intro?
No, how did you?
I took my phone and went into my wardrobe where there are clothes.
Wow.
Taiwan, so do you know that your sound is great in that wardrobe where you have all those your clothes and shoes?
Oh wow.
Oh my God, try it. It's powerful.
You recorded it inside the wardrobe.
Yes, so just put your head inside. Just if I put your phone on so that nobody will call you.
Okay.
That's how I got that intro that you're seeing there. So I just put my head there. And I just talked. That's all. So you gotta do an intro. Some people don't do intro. They just welcome to the podcast today. They just have to teach. Let me play a podcast for you guys to hear, to see that there are different ways. So I don't want you to get stuck in one way, so that you can't say, "Whoa, I don't have intro. Whoa, I can't start to no intro." Let me play a podcast to you. The guy is so big. His podcast is very big. When you are big, you are big. A very big podcast. He has no intro. He has no intro. He just goes straight. He just be talking. Bara, 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 bara. Let me play his podcast for you guys to see.
The book that I want to talk to you about today is The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs, How to Be Insanely Great in Front of Any Audience. And it was written by Carmine Gallo. So a friend of mine founded a company and he raised money from some of the best venture capital.
You do any intro?
No intro.
Yeah, just beginning to talk to you. So you can do that. In fact, right now, so that if you notice, I know you listen to my podcast a lot. I don't even do that intro again. No.
Yeah, very true.
I just go straight, hits, broom. But I stick to the formats. I don't know this intro and outro again. But if you want to do that, that is also fine. I want to encourage all of you, even if you don't have a mic yet, you can record your first episode in your wardrobe. Just put Torchlight there. Look at your notes. Make sure nobody's awake. Make sure they're all sleeping. When you know, put your head there. You will sound like as if you're in a studio. You will sound like you're in a studio.
Someone has told me that thing before.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I've not tried.
If I don't put it in your door, mom is working. Don't talk to him. Don't talk to her. You will sound as if you were in a studio. Try it. Try it. It's very powerful. All right. So I want to give you your homework. Record your intro. Forget about the intro and outro. So I don't want to delay you, because the last set of people I did this training for, you know what the excuse was? Coach, I can't do intro, so I can't do this podcast. So no intro. I said, look at this one. So forget about that. Do your podcast artwork and register your podcast in a podcast host. I want you guys to do that tonight. Everybody say I will. Everybody say I will.
Okay. I will.
That's to show me that you're serious. That's to show me that your why is strong enough. That's to show me that your why is strong enough. Very simple. Next, you got to have a content calendar and a content topic.
Coach, I want to ask, that's Spotify that for podcast. Can you only be accessed on a computer or on a laptop? Spotify, registering our podcast on Spotify. Can you only be accessed on a laptop, or we can do it on our cell phone too?
You can do it yourself, but do it on your laptop. Don't do mobile. Do it on your laptop.
Okay.
By the time when you see that your podcast is now registered in Spotify, the kind of joy we give to you,
I can already imagine.
The kind of joy we give to you,
Do you mean the registration, we should do it on Google? Because I heard you mention something about we registering it on Google.
No, you register your podcast on Spotify for podcasters.
Okay.
So that you can be uploading your episodes to it now. Can you get me? Did you get that?
Is it a website or just
No. Just get it so that all of us are on the same page. Let me open it for everybody to see now, so that you can just save it right now in your phones, in your laptop. Let me open it now. Spotify for podcaster is not the same thing as Spotify.
Okay.
This is where you upload episodes of your podcast. Now look at this. This is Spotify for podcasters. Look at the webpage. This is podcasters.spotify.com. Please write it down. Podcasters.spotify.com. This is where you register your podcast with Spotify. Spotify is the largest podcast platform in the world right now.
Okay.
It even shows me the episodes that I've done the best. Let me show you my best ranking episodes. Was one of the ones I interviewed a lady called I interviewed one lady called you will see my best episode now. Just watch this. It doesn't lie. This is so powerful. Episode rankings. I interviewed a lady called How to Build Your Confidence with a lady called Confidence Achudo. It's been my highest ranking episode, and I don't know why. People love that episode. People come from all over the world because of this episode. All over the world because of this episode. All over the world because of this episode.
And I've not even listened to that episode. I'll go find it.
Listen to it. So people call me from all over the world because of this episode. I don't know why. I don't know what's on that episode, but man, it shows you your episode. And then guess what I now said to myself, Taiwo? And I said, if I have a topic called how to build confidence, it did well. I can do how to build how to build sales confidence, how to build that. So the algorithm doesn't lie. I mean, have you written up Spotify.podcasters.com? Have you done that?
Yes.
Yeah, I've written it down.
Now, this is where it's important for all of you. Now, your content calendar and your content topic is important, because sometimes if you're not careful, you don't want to publish an episode because you don't have what to say. because you don't have what to say and you don't have a guest for that week. So you must prepare yourself ahead of time. So let me show you what I do to ensure that I've got a lot of topics, and but this is gotta have a system for this, you know. Where is my a lot of Notion? Okay, good. No, where do I keep topics here? No. Okay, good. Yeah. So let me show you guys some of my backend so you see how it works for me. So can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, coach.
Yeah.
Yes, coach. I can see us.
So these are topics. Can you see this? 6 books every sales manager must read. It's a topic. 4 things you got to do to get somebody to buy from you. It's a topic. 6 beliefs of successful salespeople. It's a topic. 8, are you seeing the topics?
Yeah.
As in my group, so you now realize that why does this guy have something to say every single day? This is it.
Yeah, every morning.
Yes.
You know,
Every
I
morning.
learn from you so much. So I have a
Every
community
morning.
now that I
So
glean from you,
the
literally.
system in it. I don't just wake up and talking blah. You know what, Taiwo? I find out that the best content creators with the biggest following and biggest money, they have a system. They do led by the Spirit. Did you get that? Did you get that?
Yeah.
So I want you guys to get a Notion document. If you don't like Notion, you can use your notes, your phone. But collect your topics so that you don't get stuck. So that you don't get stuck. You don't get stuck. On that way that can even help you get topics is comments from big accounts that you admire. What are people commenting about? And get topic ideas from there. What kind of questions are they asking? You can go to Reddit, question forums. What kind of questions are they? You can even do a poll. You can do a poll. Why are people poor? It's so that you want to do about millionaires. Why is it that most money die in the first generation? Taiwo, do you know the average American, if they die, they don't have up to $10,000 in their account to even do their funeral.
Wow.
The average American doesn't have up to $3,000 in their account. 1 out of every 7 Americans, they don't have up to $3,000 in their account. In the UK, yeah, Taiwo, 80% to 90% of people, they don't have up to £1,000 in their account. Yeah. Yeah. You guys must teach this your podcast, you know. Many people don't know anything about money. It's a problem. It is a problem. And some people don't act their wage because of that. They look at Taiwo now living the life. They don't know that she started from somewhere. They want to pick up from where she is right now. You understand me? That's the problem. That's the problem. So have a content calendar. Have that so that you are not stuck. Oh. Because if you are stuck, it's not a fun place to be. Oh. So you can use SEMrush Keyword Magic. You're gonna get the slides. You can use Google Trends to know what to talk about. All these are ways. You can use Answer the Public. You can use Google AdWords. All this way you can get a lot of topic, and if you just listen to what people are saying. Just listen to what people are saying. Growing strong, document it on Notion. Document it on Notion. I've shown you that one before. And cultivate topics, ideas, so that you don't lack what to say. But above all, you need to be consistent in this thing and make up your mind. You know what? I'm willing to stand forever. I'm willing to do this thing. I'm willing to do this thing. I want to pause again and ask questions. What have you learned so far? So that you're not overwhelmed. Ask me questions. This is so good. Then we'll talk about how to make money. There's money. So the ways to make money are various. You can do adverts. They can be sponsored.
Sorry, I want. Yeah. Like opening the Spotify podcast.
Yeah.
Like registering, Sha.
Yeah.
Do you need to register a Gmail?
No, are they asking for a Gmail now?
No, I'm asking.
No, you don't. They will ask you for your email address. You put your email, just normal stuff. Just follow the prompts. If you're stuck,
Okay.
message me. But I want you guys to put register the name of your podcast on Podcast for Spotify there.
Can we change the name if?
Yeah. Oh yes. Like very good question. You can change your name anytime you want to. You can even change your artwork anytime you want to. I'm
talking of the okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yes, you can change your podcast anytime you want. You can change your podcast artwork anytime you want on the Spotify. This thing. When you change it, and guess what? Spotify for podcasters actually distributes your podcast for you on all podcast platforms around the world, though. So you'll be on Apple, you'll be on all the podcast platforms around the world.
That's nice.
Yes. More questions? Any more questions? Hope you guys are getting value from this.
Good value.
Yes, coach, you're getting value.
All right, so cultivate 14 topics to write your podcast. I mean, I've given you guys work. I've given you a lot of homework. I don't want to add this one, but hey, get stuff to. This will make you want to read more, research more, listen to your audience more, listen to what the market is saying more. Next, pick a publishing rhythm. Let me ask all of you. How many times a week do you want to be releasing your podcast? Twice a week, once a week? I started with once a week. Now I do twice a week.
Yeah. Mine is once a week now.
Once a week is good. Start with that and build up from there.
Week.
And Taiwo, for example, you that do Instagram Live a lot, you may not even need to go and sit there and do another recording. Your Instagram Live, you can just copy it and dump it on Spotify because Spotify can do video. Come on! Oh shit! Did you get that?
Yeah. Okay.
So now let me go into something that is important. The other class too, because I've also grown as well. I didn't add this to it. Now, you know you will interview some people remotely. Someone say remotely.
Remotely.
Maybe you want to interview someone. The person is in London. The person is in Japan. The person is somewhere. What will you use? Don't use Zoom. Zoom is not optimized for podcasts. I repeat, Zoom is not optimized for podcast recording. Surprising, right? Come on, I got your attention now. Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
You can use it though, but you won't get the best of it. Let me recommend the best platform to do remote recording for podcast. It's called Riverside. Everybody write Riverside.
Type it, please.
No, I want to open the site. No, I like me not chere me not talking do. I want to open the site.
Is it free? Oh, it's paid for.
It's paid for, but it's free. There's a free version, but there's a paid version for it. But forget about that one first. Let's open to it first and let's see how it works. I love Riverside. Is it £5 I pay for it? Can't remember, but I don't use a free version. I pay for it. So this is Riverside. Everybody say Riverside.
Okay, Riverside.
Can you see now? So this was the guy I interviewed in my podcast, the last guy. The guy paid for his house in 7 years. So pay for your mortgage in 7 years in the UK. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. You know, so watch this. This is the interview. Hello, everybody. How you doing today? It's a new day. It's a fresh day. I hope you're... So Riverside is very nice. Struggling. But here's one good thing that Riverside does for you. Taiwo, are you guys ready to listen? I'm ready.
We're ready.
Now watch this. Riverside, now this interview, if you notice, it's 45 minutes, 46 seconds. Did you see that? Riverside can chop it up for you into small bits. You see, how many of you notice my podcast that I will now promote 1 minute of it to say coming soon, or click on the link to watch the full video. Did you notice that?
It's even showing.
Great. So you can tell Riverside now, it will chop it up into clips for you. Now watch this clip now. Can you see the clip now?
We've gotten ourselves.
It will give you everything for free like this.
Of living. That way, think about it, Paul. Just think about it.
Did you see
a
that?
lot of people's struggles today come because of.
Did you see that?
Simple.
Come on, man.
Simple.
That's so cool.
If your lifestyle was simpler.
Did you see that? Oh shit. I mean, I don't give this my girls over advice. You know
Yeah.
They're not fit talking.
Have you shout safe? I don't even know.
You saw what?
I wanted to shout now so that I can give you ginger.
So it's so good. So Taiwo, you don't need to be chopping up. You don't need to pay somebody to be chopping up your content. That's the money now. Rather, you to pay for the app. It will chop it up for you. You know, just put and say, I just interviewed a Sosa, a real estate Kinikon. This episode is now live on all podcast platform. And guess what? With this one, it is optimized for YouTube. My sister, this is what I put on YouTube. Oh, Chineke me, oh. I just come here. So now I come here now. I just download this full video, watch my YouTube now. You will just see exactly the same thing here on my YouTube channel. So I don't need to start getting a full camera for the YouTube. Look at what I just did. Did you see that?
Because everybody wants everything at the same time. You're like, I want to.
Are you seeing it, darlings?
I also want to live the life.
So now the one that it turned into you can even post it on Reels, right?
Oh yes, that's what you post on your Reels now, on your TikTok.
The 9:16 format. Okay.
Exactly. You got it. Are you see now?
Thank you.
So you want to use Riverside. So please, if you have a guest and Riverside is very nobody visitors, I know the reason why I use Zoom to interview Timi Dakolo was because I wanted everybody in my WhatsApp group to watch that because that interview was powerful. And so did you watch that? It was very moving. That interview, Jesus Christ. It was deep because I wanted a lot of people to watch that. But if it's just you and the guest, please use Riverside. It is optimized for podcasts. That is what I recommend that you use.
Coach, I have a question. Is it that if I want to connect with my host, my guest, sorry, we go through the Riverside app, or is there a way I can call my
let me book a podcast episode now for you to see on Riverside. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
I got you. I'm here to serve you people today. I'll give it to you hot. So let it open now. So let's say, for example, I even need to renew my. I've not renewed for this month. They are reminding me. I'll come back to people. Yeah, Mechiano. Now watch this. Say I want to do a new episode now. I click new episode. I put there studio name. I call it Esosa plus Taiwo Ginger episode. I've created something now. So I click create here. All I need to do, Esosa, I will just share this link with Esosa. When it's time for the interview, she clicks on the link, boom, she's in class. We want to try it?
But there are some podcast episodes that you do that you also air on Instagram. How do you do that? Like on Instagram Live.
There's a podcast episode that I do that was not aired on where?
That you do from Instagram Live.
Oh yeah, no, I just interviewed people on Instagram Live, and now that's a good question. Try for yourself for that question. Now, Esosa and Taiwo. Esosa, you already use Opus Clips now, right?
Yes, I do.
I told you about it. I use it now, great. So what I do is that anybody that Taiwo has done a lot of Instagram live, you can just copy that your Instagram live and bring it to Opus Clips. Now watch this, Taiwo. Taiwo, these two will bless you. Taiwo, are you there?
What did you call it?
Opus Clips. Just wait that you'll see now. Relax. I dare you to now. Let me see. When our money don't they finish, don't pass 1 hour, but I will deal with this matter today. Watch it. Are you seeing Opus Clip? Taiwo, use it because this exercise is she's using it very well. I told her in the WhatsApp group to use it. Taiwo, you see all those Instagram live where you don't interview many people, where you don't talk plenty. Just copy it here. It will chop it up for you. So Taiwo, make I show you an Instagram live that I did, and I brought it here. It just cut them into small bits for me. So I interviewed this guy. Yeah, maybe like 1 year ago, John Obidi. I brought it here. I just dumped it. It turned into small bits for me. It is here.
I don't mind dropping them for your people.
Please drop a bag, drop.
So
It is here.
there's some crazy stuff going on in my
It is here, Taiwo. It go give you all those clips. You can't look professional.
It's almost looking like those talking head videos, you know.
Yeah, that one you don't need to do and just dump it there. It will turn 1 45 minutes video for you into 10 clips. Into 10 clips. You will just drop the video, they go pro. And they cannot put it. See, I just talked about this in my podcast. Check it out. Watch the full video. You never can tell which one will even go viral.
Okay, so let me also ask a question. So, like for example, now you've chosen your topic, you've scripted it out. Do you read from your script, or do you just use it as like a guide?
I use it as a
so
guide.
That you,
I use it as some people read
that
from,
you don't.
some people read from that script and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I use it as a guide. I just use it as a guide. I just use it to guide me. And that's it. Pick a rhythm once a week, twice a week. And then you're good to go. I'll bring it to the end of the class. Was this useful to you guys? Was this banging?
You have not discussed the money part. How
Great.
do you make money?
So how do you make money from podcasts? I will encourage you not to focus on that yet. But let me tell you how you make money from podcasts. Adverts is the main way. Adverts is the main way to make money from your podcast. Another way for you to make money from your podcast, because you build a brand, you can begin to monetize that brand. You can get brand deals. Like I'm talking to MTN right now to come and sponsor my podcast. I'm in talks with MTN as we speak right now. As we speak right now, I am in talks with MTN to sponsor my podcast. But for now, I won't encourage. That's why I didn't put it there. I won't encourage you guys to focus on the money. Just focus on.
Just to have it at the backdrop. It's not as if it's.
Great. Yeah, so have it at the backdrop, but make up your mind. Say, I want to do my first 50 episodes before this year runs to an end. No stopping. I want to do 50 episodes. I want to do 50 episodes of my podcast. That way, if you do 50 episodes of this podcast, with your network in this real estate industry, you can get a big sponsor. You know them more than me. You sell your properties. So now you're selling something else to them. I'm telling you. We want to have those conversations. Come to me.
My question, I still have a question on that Instagram live. Are you saying that I can either call my guest on Instagram live or I use Riverside? So if I'm using Instagram live, no need to use Riverside, correct?
Yes, I won't encourage you to, but for a start, maybe if you don't have all the equipment in the world, you can interview your guests on Instagram live and take it to Opus. You already know Opus is to chop it up for you.
Yeah.
But the question is,
if I'm using
they can take the video. They can take the video and dump it on Spotify. But how do you get the audio? Or you don't want people to listen to the audio of your podcast?
Yes, audio I want to use for the podcast. Okay, Riverside extract the audio.
No, it doesn't extract the audio for you. That's a long process. Why don't you just interview if it's a virtual guest, interview the guest on use Riverside. But with Zoom, you can get the audio and the video. But I am not a big encourager of Zoom video.
Does Riverside give videos or audios?
Huh?
Riverside, is it just video or audio?
Riverside gives you two. It gives you video and audio. To give you a video, it gives you an audio. You can put the audio on Spotify. You can put the video on Spotify as well. And you put the video on YouTube. So your YouTube channel is also growing that way. That's how I grew my YouTube channel to up to 4,000 subscribers.
Okay.
Yes.
What if you want to stream on different platforms? I think you've done one time that you were streaming on YouTube and streaming on Instagram. What do you use that time?
No, very simple. So what I do is that if I'm doing Instagram live with my phone, right? I'm recording the podcast, the audio in my laptop. And since I'm using my laptop, my Riverside will be facing me. But people don't know. My phone and my laptop is facing me as I'm talking. So when I finish it, that's what I do. So I'll be saying, this is streaming live on Instagram. It's streaming, nah, boo-boo. Now my laptop, the Riverside, and my phone, Instagram live.
Wow.
Taiwo, you know what? Some people look at my operation, they think I have like 10 staff. I have 2 dedicated staff in Nigeria, in Lagos. They've worked with me for over 5 years. Taiwo, I just finished my project in Lekki Garden. It was my staff that supervised it from start to finish. Money not lost. Now, it won't put. May God bless you with good people, though. May God bless you with good people, though.
Amen.
Was this useful to anybody today?
Yes, it was.
My joy is to tell me that, coach, I've done my first 10 episodes. I've broken the jinx. You come again, coach. Do my next 20 episodes. To make
But coach, can we always come to ask you questions anytime you are stuck?
Just message me. Ask me a question. I may not answer immediately, you know. My second is busy. But I will answer you. You my people now. I get my number now. Get my number.
All right. Thank you so much.
Taiwo.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
And guys, go and crush it. Take it. Time when you find out that, and you guys will find out that once you guys start your podcast, other people will want to come and now start their own podcast. But before they start come, you don't go. You know a lot of things. Just say to yourself, I will do my first 10 episodes. Stick with the first 10. I tell you all the time, those who fail in podcasting and those who succeed in podcasting, they have the same goal. They have the same goal. They want to succeed.
Can I ask something? Is it possible to copy maybe like a podcast interview that I went for and break it into chunks?
Beautiful.
Eh?
Yes, you can. Just copy it, take it.
Which one should I use? Is it?
Go to the podcast episode that you went for. Someone interviewed you.
Okay,
right?
Opus. Flip Opus.
Go to Opus. They chop it up for you. That was when you see Opus, you were messing me say, coach. Oh my God, this is so cool. The first I saw, the first I used Opus, I was like, all those people they see what they like. They go, yeah.
YouTube, anyone that
everyone.
use.
So you can order the Opus clip that that will be your Instagram reel, that will be your YouTube shorts, that will be your TikToks.
Awesome.
That will be in your WhatsApp status. You will fire them for status now. Now status can even take 1 minute to your status.
Yes, so
yeah. There we go. Thank you, darlings.
Thank you, coach.
But
I don't talk. This is my 3rd meeting for to do. To also
let me also say something. You know, all of these things there. It's easy for you to say, okay, fire on, fire go. But man, oh God, time, honestly, time is not.
That's why you have a support system. Just message me, say, coach, I'm struggling. Just say, help, I'm struggling. Those times will come. Those times will come. I just did a 30-day back-to-back content for Twitter. I'm not. I always say to people all the time, maybe
for Twitter.
Yes, maybe it's because of my genes. I'm just very consistent.
Okay, so you recorded.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
Twitter
just
is
naturally wired like that.
just post now, or you
No,
did
I
video
said
for.
I did a 30-day challenge on just posting on Twitter and LinkedIn. I was
Oh,
posting on Twitter only because I wanted to master
just
that type of
you
content.
are big.
Just me. Just me.
Why open it up for all of us so that we can join the challenge?
No problem. I'm doing a challenge, a 5 days challenge. So I love the challenges. It makes you just
Honestly,
now I'm interviewing Cyrus Yari. Cyrus is very big on Twitter. I'm interviewing on the 27th. Cyrus is a big boy. The boss.
you will connect me with some of these people. I need financial partners. So.
No problem. No problem. No problem. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming for the podcast today.
Nice to connect with you.
Esosa, are you here or you have gone home?
No, I'm here. Nice to connect with you too. Thank you.
Okay. So what's your handle on Instagram?
Unusual_Esosa.
That was an exercise routine going. You know, I follow you and I see you now.
I try.
You would panic cause to exercise. I say this woman.
Yeah.
That's when I don't want to go gym. I got to sit down with the gym. I say, which kind of wild be this? Why do you want something like this now?
What do you think I can do with my gym time?
That's great content for you, man. You can I don't know what you want to do that. You can even connect real estate to gym. The work is very stressful. It's very stressful. And it is.
It is.
It is. If you don't take care of your health, you're in trouble. I don't play with people. I sleep for 7, 8 hours every night. No play. 10 o'clock, 9, wow. Bed. Nothing. You know how you hear me say? Since Nigeria, what if your mama die? How you go tell me? I say not lie. My mama tells you no go die like that.
Okay.
Oh my God. I don't even laugh, I beg. Life can be stressful, though. You have to take care of yourself, put those boundaries. When it's time to sleep, switch off. People that call it said, they say by Paul. The people know they don't go come by 11. My phone is off. That will go and listen to that episode. That episode was deep. People that call it say he had a girlfriend. He traveled, come. I say he kissed the girl. You see when the kiss the girl say this kiss is it's not like it used to be.
He said what?
He said he had a girlfriend in those days.
Yeah.
Before he met his wife. He said he kissed the girl one day.